So, welcome everyone. I'm Alexander Mihalcea, and today we're joined by Manit Parikh, CEO of the Binary Holdings. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Before we dive in, could you give us a quick overview of what the Binary Holdings does?
So the binary holding does a lot of stuff actually. But just to keep it simple, the binary holdings is an infrastructure, it's a Web3 infrastructure company where they've built multiple tech stacks. So to start with, they have their own layer. We have our own layer two called the binary network. On top of that, we have built a super app infrastructure where we have other dApps coming in, both internal that we've built as well as external dApps coming in across gaming, learning, e-commerce, sports, and so on. We've combined the two stacks together and integrated into the telecom companies and banks and e-wallets who have then gone on to become our distribution layer because through them we reach out to a lot of web2 audiences who, when they engage with the platform, they, for every engagement, whether it's playing games or learning content or watching content or shopping, they earn loyalty points in form of binary tokens, which are our tokenized loyalty points. And through that, they become our consumers. So that's our third stack. And on top of that, we've built a marketplace very similar to Android Play Store or, sorry, Google Play Store or Apple App Store, where now we have opened up for external dApps, whether it's gaming, whether it's fintech or DeFi, whether it's learn to earn and different dApps to kind of come in and plug into our ecosystem. And the way we've done it is that no additional layers of logging in or registering is required anymore because when they are plugged into our ecosystem, when the user enters through the telco or the bank or the e-wallet, they're already logged in. There's already an authentication done. So why would you want a user to again log in, which is the current traditional scenario that we live
Yeah.
in? So that's the four tech stacks that we've built. And in a nutshell, this is what binary holding is.
Okay, that's fascinating. And what inspired you to create the Binary Holdings? Was there a specific moment or experience that sparked this journey?
Sorry, can you repeat again? I didn't hear you.
So, what inspired you to create Binary Holdings? Was there
What
a specific
inspired me?
moment? Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, yeah. Specific moment or experience that sparked this journey?
I think a combination of both. Journey because when I was studying in the college in the US, this was in 2000, in early 2000. I used to engage with different platforms, whether it's YouTube, whether it's Facebook, all of them, and also sports platforms. The only thing I thought was we are contributing our effort, our time, and we don't get anything out of it. It is the platform that makes all the money. The content creators make all the money. I'm not saying that they should not be rewarded. I'm just saying that the people who contribute to their success or growth should be given a small percentage of the earnings that they do, right? So I think we were living in a world of single sided marketplace. So one of the moments for me was how do I build a double sided marketplace where a
Okay.
consumer who goes in also gets a piece, and that way they also feel a sense of loyalty and ownership of being a part of that community. That was one. Number two was while I was working in different companies over the last 20 years before I started the binary holdings, I realized that people who have power can do a lot of stuff, but people who don't have power, they always remain unempowered. The moment the realization of the moment for me was how can we as a company through our platform and our reach empower the unempowered. That was one of the
Okay.
primary reasons why we focused on emerging markets and underdeveloped markets because that's where we feel that the people don't have avenues to promote their products or their own self or their products.
Okay, that's great. And I have a little curiosity by this. What initially drew you to focus on the intersection of Web3, telecommunications, and financial services?
So initially, when we started the company, we started as a Web2 company, to be honest. Web3 was fascinating, but we had to test out a few business use cases before we were ready that we could be that transitioning layer or that platform for transitioning people from Web2 to Web3 and Web3 to Web2. So we started as a sports TikTok style format platform where we garnered over the first 2 years from 2020 to 2021 December or 2022 May, we got around 4.5 million users through different avenues. We started generating revenue in cash, of course, because we are Web2. Then the loyalty points we started giving out, and they were being consumed for engagement. Plus, they were using it to redeem products within the ecosystem. And then we also realized that the user's appetite to monetize their free time was very high compared to just spending money every time. So once we kind
Okay.
of had that model proven, then we realized that our platform can cater very well to a very large community of audiences who are passive. So what I mean by passive is if you look at a telco audience, the telecom users audience base is very passive. Because when was the last time any of the guys who will listen into this, they can ask themselves, when was the last time you opened up your mobile operator's application and
Yeah.
used it for more than 10 minutes? You
Yeah.
don't, because
Right.
there are a lot of other super apps or other interesting apps. So they have a massive community but passive. So our goal was, how do we kind of enter into that ecosystem and not change their behavior, because changing user behavior is very difficult, it's very expensive. So why not enter the ecosystem and give them loyalty points, which they're used to earning loyalty points, but in the back, the loyalty points are backed by a crypto token. So it's tokenized.
Mm-hmm.
So that is how we entered, and soon we got 200 million users who use our ecosystem today. So somewhere down the line, we believe that the conversation around mass adoption that everybody has been talking in Web3, I think we are contributing towards that in a great degree by converting all these Web2 users into Web3 users without actually telling them, but they're actually just going ahead and using the tokenized loyalty points as the medium of payments and collection
Right.
for different sources. And that's how we kind of became a bridge between the two.
Right. That's really interesting. So let's go back to when you first started. What major challenges or gaps did you see in the market that made you think this needs to be solved?
When I first started, so we started in August 2020 in Thailand. But then I think 2022, May or June, was the time we decided that we will transition into a Web 2.5, so like a Web 3 and Web 2 bridge.
Mm-hmm.
And when we
Okay.
entered that space, the biggest challenge we faced was how would we convince the user to kind of use our loyalty points, which were tokenized loyalty points. That was number one. Number two, the second challenge was B2B. A lot of
Okay.
B2B challenges like telcos. When we talk to the telcos and you tell them, hey, I'll give a loyalty point to your user for engagement, but it's a crypto led or a tokenized loyalty token, that came up with a lot of challenges from a regulatory landscape perspective. So I think these were the two main challenges, I would say, primarily among the other challenges, because the other challenges were smaller, so I'm not focusing on that. When we clarified the regulatory challenge, and we told the telco very simple, we will create a closed loop economy. That means the user in our ecosystem will not be able to go out to the exchange and sell it for cash. So the moment we made into closed loop, the consumption and the absorption within the ecosystem became very high. People started spending more time. People started using. So today, users of our ecosystem can pay in their country, can use the binary token, the loyalty point, to pay for their mobile phone bills, to pay for coffee, to buy coffee from the local outlets, which is a part of
Okay.
the network, to pay for their insurance premium. So, moment that happened, transpired, all these products started becoming vendor-funded loyalty programs. In a traditional environment, it is company-funded loyalty points. We suddenly switched the table and said, "Hey, you are a vendor who sells coffee. Why don't you fund the loyalty points in our ecosystem? You give us $100,000, and we will fund, let's say, 10 million tokens for you." So every time the users came in and up to 10 million, they were earning it through a loyalty program, and for them it was great because it, number one, increased customer acquisition for them. Number two, it got more footfalls to their digital and retail outlet, and that led to more revenues coming in, because your loyalty points are good for one coffee but not for more,
Right.
so you end up paying for
Right.
more,
Right.
right?
Right.
So I think when we solved that challenge, which was rather easy, I think then it was a kind of smooth sailing ride, because the same challenge was with the banks as well and with the e-wallet, because I think everybody's question is regulatory. If my user is going to get crypto and if they take that and go to the market and sell it, then it becomes like gambling, a cash in, cash out kind of atmosphere. So that's how we negated it by creating a closed loop economy. And this way, we also
Okay.
create more demand in the market for our tokens, because our tokens are majorly 90% of the tokens are held within the economy.
Okay. 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 And could you elaborate on why the existing solutions weren't meeting these needs?
Why existing solutions were needing these needs?
Yeah, weren't meeting these needs.
Sorry, just to clarify, you're asking me why would a telco use us, or why would somebody use us? Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So again, I'll just go to the earlier point that I made about how many times you really open up your operators, mobile operators, telco application. So the fundamental problem was for the telco, for the organization as such, they had a very high churn rate. So users were dropping off. They were not downloading their mobile app because there were other third-party applications through which they could pay. So they were not interested. Number two, very low retention rate. Though people have the mobile app downloaded, but they would only come once a month or twice a month to make their bill payments or top up. Number three was when they are coming only once or twice a month, there is no incremental increase in average revenue per user because there is nothing in their ecosystem which will consume more data for them, which will want the user to create more top ups. That was it. And number four, their loyalty points were not working because their loyalty points are pretty much used within their own ecosystem, which are only catered towards a telco hoodie, a telco branded jersey. So nobody wants a telco branded jersey or a telco branded hoodie after once or twice that you've bought it. So that was, I think, the four fundamental problems. And when we took our solution, which had content platform where you could watch TikTok style sports content, or you could watch TikTok style content across real estate, across entertainment, across movies, songs. So when you have verticalized 2022 verticals which provide you different content, that's interesting for the user because while watching the content, they're also earning the loyalty points. And while
Yeah,
they're earning the loyalty points, they're also consuming their data. So when they're consuming their data, the user is now going back in the telco's app to top up their data plan again. So they're spending more money than they could have. That was one. Number two, we have almost 800 to 900 games in our binary games marketplace. So in that marketplace, when people go in, they keep playing games, casual games, and while they're playing the casual games, they're also earning loyalty points. And while doing so, they're also burning data, which is leading to incremental increase in average revenue per user for the telco. Then we have the learning component. People are coming in and learning how to do crypto trading in a simulation format because a lot of Web2 users they want to trade, they want to get into crypto because for them crypto is quick money. So they want to get into it, but they don't know how to trade because
right.
traditionally they do all small tradings either through brokers or somebody else. So out here, we've partnered with a company called Zishi, which actually trains the traders of Goldman Sachs, Citadel, and all these guys. So we've taken their platform for training and we've plugged it in. So a lot of users come in and use them. And when you use such heavy trading platforms, you burn more data, which leads to something else. And then we have an e-commerce marketplace that we've built, which has 15 different categories from electronics to merchandise to hotel bookings to multiple stuff. And this is all vendor funded. So now when you earn these loyalty points, you can actually go into a very varied commerce marketplace and use the loyalty points to buy stuff, like a payment that you are doing to buy stuff. And we also have a voucher marketplace where we have more than 10,000 different vouchers of different outlets like Starbucks, Burger King, McDonald's. You can think of any, right? It's all there. And you can
Okay.
go in and pay $5, which is 5 tokens, and you can redeem a voucher. So because of this, more engagement increase. And for us as a company, we could now show downstream and upstream binary token being used as a true utility for payments because there were different transactions being recorded. So on an average, we have around 2 to 3 million, or sometimes in some cases, 4 million unique transactions every 24 hours.
Really?
Yeah.
That's
So
really
that was the
interesting.
use case that we kind of entered into the telcos ecosystem. And today we are proud to say that I can't disclose the numbers, but we are proud to say that we have added an impact to their bottom line. We've added an impact to their engagement time. We've improved their retention rate. We've reduced their churn rate. And we've also somewhere contributed towards not personal data because as per GDPR, we don't collect PII, which is personal information. But what we've able to do is we've created personas of behavior. So you and I could be categorized into one persona because of a similar behavior habits that we would have. So that is what we've been able to create, which has then led for them to create more revenue on the enterprise side of their business as well, because a lot of companies want to partner.
Yeah, makes sense. Makes sense. And what was the breaking point that made you decide to tackle this problem?
The breaking point was so when we first started talking to the first telco,
Yeah.
we realized okay, first thing, we knew that after getting 4.5 million users, after the business model being proven, we had to scale. Because I have a simple philosophy: if you fail, fail fast. If you succeed, scale fast. Right? So we succeeded. So we had to scale fast. And the only way to do that without spending marketing dollars, because that is where 90% of the companies go bust because they spend too much money on customer acquisition or marketing their product. So that is where we went to the telco. When we started talking to the telco, it took us, I think, 9 months to kind of close the first telco. But the day when we closed the first telco and we integrated, and I think 3 months later, we had like 50, 60 million users in our ecosystem earning tokens or redeeming tokens. That's when we know we had hit the break even point in terms of understanding that this market needs what we have. And from there on, we signed on with 8, 9 more telecom companies. And now, as of today, I think we are with nine telecom. We are signed with 9 telecom companies, integrated with four, and we also have three e-wallets and one bank already signed up. So this year, by December 2025, we're on track to achieve a billion users who will be using our ecosystem across 10 countries.
Really, really awesome, honestly. And so walk us through how the binary holdings addresses these challenges. What makes your approach unique?
Number one, I think success story with the telcos. I think a lot of, I mean, what we are doing is nothing novel. We've not done something where the world is like, oh wow, these guys did something great. No, I think a lot of companies have tried this route, but somewhere down the line, our conviction as individuals and as a company, along with the product pipeline that we had, which was already proven, and with and with the monetization opportunities along with it, I think when you couple all together, that's what made us unique as an offering, which kind of allowed us to succeed a little better than the others who've tried it. I mean, I can give you an example. There's another company called Zebu, Zeepu, which is also in the crypto space. Very different than what we do. They are more on the fintech side of it, but they also work with telecom companies, and they've successfully entered that space. So it's all about identifying what your strengths are. Number one, how are your strengths compatible with the telco's requirement or your partner's requirements? And once you integrate that, how are you as a company, which is in this case us, how are we going to help them monetize or generate more revenue? Because they can generate their own revenue, they have no problem. But how
Right.
are we going to contribute to their bottom line if you can address all three of those parameters and create a frictionless ecosystem? Then I think that becomes your USP.
Right, right, right. And when you talk to potential clients, what's the biggest misconception they typically have about what you do?
The biggest misconception is they don't understand what we do. So I think that's the first thing, because we do a lot of stuff. But I think when we jump in, the first thing that they believe is we are a content or entertainment platform. But when we sit down and then we break it down and then we talk about it, that's when they realize it's not a content or entertainment platform. It's more of an infrastructure play that is coming in, because when you plug in one infrastructure, different tech stacks of the infrastructure, both upstream and downstream, also get integrated. And suddenly the offering from one component suddenly becomes 100 offerings. So I
Yeah.
think that is the difference or the misconception that they have.
Okay. And I have a curiosity by then. What resistance or concerns do you typically encounter when discussing Web3 adoption with traditional enterprises?
I think the first basic is the regulatory aspect, because the regulatory aspect everywhere, I think that's the most common thing. And their biggest question is, will the user be allowed to go out and convert those tokens into cash? Because a lot of
Okay.
traditional businesses don't have licenses to allow the user to do that activity. So I think that is one biggest bottleneck for a lot of legacy businesses or traditional businesses in the Web2 space. So I think we tackled it by creating a closed loop ecosystem, number one. So that was one. The number two was, uh, can we have our own branded loyalty points and you work as an infra in the back? No problem, right? It's very easy. You can be the face, but at the back, it is my token linked to it. So every time your token moves, my token is also moving. So the
Right.
transaction ledger entry is also getting created. So they don't want to use a third party token, they want to use their own branded loyalty point, which is great, because then they create it into a zero value token and it becomes our token, which is the value and not their token anymore. So it takes care of that requirement as well, and also allows them tomorrow, if they want to launch their own token, it also gives them the leg to launch their own token in the market as well. So they are preparing for that. So this is the second point. And the third is, assuming everybody starts accepting the loyalty point, which is the crypto loyalty point, as a form of payment, then how will they be able to get the money from the market? Because in the entire ecosystem, you can enter by paying cash and you exit by paying cash. So somewhere somebody needs to exit in the entire supply chain. So what happens during that time? So that is where we've created so two things. Either you can go to the exchange and sell our tokens, no problem. There's enough liquidity, or you can come back to us and we can craft an OTC deal. Because the moment I give you a token, the token today is valued at, let's say, 2 cents, but by the time you're going to sell, it's at 5 cents. So you already got an upside of 140, 120, 130%. But now you're willing to take a haircut of 30, 40% because I'm giving you an OTC offering. So for me, it's good because I'm buying it cheaper. I'm reducing the sell pressure from the market, and there's more demand being created in the market. So I think these are the three primary main points which typically any legacy business wants to understand. And finally, they are very averse to any changes. So if your platform is going to require an overhaul of their entire technology infrastructure, then it's a no-no. Because legacy
Mhm.
businesses have a lot of bureaucracy and approvals that they have to secure before they can even do any project. So that is where again it was very easy because for us there is no changes of the tech infrastructure. We are integrating into them. So all their engagement data is also being recorded on our chain. So that was the only difference. So I think these were the four major areas. And if you can solve those areas, I think legacy businesses are more than happy to venture into this. They know they have to. It's just that they want the right partner who can get them through it without too many changes to their existing ecosystem. Because for them also, they need to create a successful use case to go and take it to their requisite board members or their senior management so that they can then go ahead and proceed further with an organization wide change across the
Okay.
organization.
Okay. And could you share a specific success story of a client who saw significant results using your solution?
Yeah, so I can't name the telco, but it's a telco that we have partnered with. The first telco that we partnered with, we successfully, after 12 months, navigated to a point where their retention rate went up by 15%. Uh, their engagement rate jumped from, I think, a partly 30-second per session to almost 3.5, 4 minutes per session of the user. The incremental ARPU increased by almost 17.3%. Basically, every user who was topping up only once a month, now every fifth user is topping up twice a month or thrice a month.
Mm-hmm.
So that has changed. So now it's like basically every user is topping up every fifth day once again, right? So that has
Okay.
gone up to it as well, which has resulted in their revenue going up. And finally, through all the different dApps that we have in our ecosystem, the money that we generated, we contribute 33% of our revenue that we get to that telco because their users are the ones who are contributing towards that revenue that we are generating. So in a nutshell, I think closer to a seven-figure amount is what we gave them as a revenue share over the 12 months period. So I think that's a great use case because the telco or the partner is also seeing revenue coming from us rather than only from them. And they're also seeing their retention, their engagement go up tremendously and the churn come down, which is great for them because the other businesses that they've partnered with also start paying them a premium price. So they make money every year.
I see. And looking at the broader industry, what key trends are you seeing emerge?
So AI has become a very how do I say very buzzword in the industry right now. I think everybody is talking about AI agents and AI
Yeah.
related stuff. So I think that's the trend that I'm seeing for sure. AI coming in different aspects. We've adopted a lot of we have our own LLMs and we have our own AI tools and everything that we've built. Number one, but I think for me the most fascinating thing is decentralized physical infrastructure. I think that is a great use case that everyone should look at for sure because legacy businesses are very capex heavy or very opex heavy businesses. So how can you use deepin to kind of reduce their opex and capex? I think that is very key using Web3 or blockchain as a technology as such, right? So I think that is very key. And the number three is quantum internet. I think quantum internet, not quantum computing, but quantum internet, because that is the new way of communication, which I'm
Right.
seeing
Right.
coming in. So I think these are the three trends that I am very much focused on. I'm very much learning and also in vogue with talking to a lot of people and also establishing and implementing a lot of these use cases with our legacy partners, whether it's KYCs or contracts going onto smart contract and then being deployed on the chain, or then creating DIDs, which is decentralized identities to avoid identity thefts with banks or also with telcos where when you're swapping your SIM card from one operator to another, the identity theft happens out there. So how do you kind of avoid that? Or you're porting your number from one operator to another. How do you do that? So different use cases that we have implemented with multiple telcos. And then, of course, you use AI in that as well as a agent, which further personalizes and gives you a solid recommendation on how things are going to move from both risk mitigation and risk management from both perspectives. So I think these are the areas where I see a lot of trend happening.
Okay. Also, I have a curiosity. This comes from my mind now. How do you see the relationship between telcos, banks, and blockchain technology evolving?
Very progressive, I would say. I mean, they are very welcoming as long as you are able to create proper use cases and scenarios with them. Because again, they come from a very traditional industry, so their mindset is very different. First of all, without trying to change their mindset, you got to talk their own language. If you're able to talk to them in their own language, then they're very receptive. They're very happy to implement and willing to change as long as they see their bottom line or EBITDA going up, and somewhere down the line their OPEX and CAPEX go down. Because at the end of the day, tradition, any industry for that matter, is always P&L focused. So if you are able to assist them in their P&L and their user base, then they are very much more receptive. So if anybody who will listen to this, if they want to go towards a telco or a bank, have solid use cases in place and they will accept it for sure.
Okay, okay. And how are these trends affecting how businesses operate in your space?
You mean businesses in our ecosystem?
Yeah.
So business in our ecosystem is, so for us, we are very clear. We promise or we adhere to two promises, which is when you plug into our ecosystem, we'll give you the reach, which is the 200 million users at almost zero cost because we have them using our ecosystem. Number one, and number two, we'll assist you with marketing because we pay for the marketing on behalf of our partners, because that's the way we also get the users more and more engaged within the ecosystem as well. They earn more tokens, they spend more tokens, so more demand gets created. So we've seen a lot of gaming companies in our ecosystem. We've seen a lot of vendors from the e-commerce space coming into our ecosystem. So these are all Web2 companies I'm talking about who have plugged into the Web3 and they're collecting money in form of tokens, right? They're not
Mhm.
doing cash, and they're very happy to collect it because they're either old stock or new stock or relevantly market research, whatever they want to do, is actually moving forward for them, right? So that is there. Then we have trading companies who are looking at trading of simulation softwares, trading in crypto or public markets. Then we have a lot of real estate companies coming to us for tokenized real estate onto our platform. Then we have content creators coming in and putting in their content. So I think from that perspective, we are offering a lot to our partners, and we also have a revenue share with everybody. We are very clear. We take a platform fee, and everything else they can keep. We don't take more than that. In some companies, we've also taken up equity because we foresee that they have legs to run a longer race. So anybody where we see they have a legs to run a longer race, we kind of take a stake in their company as well. And typically we take around anywhere from 20% to 33% stake in their company. So then we are also more in bed with them to help them grow further and further. So I think that's what we've done. Two promises: customer acquisition, reach, and marketing support. These are two elements that we provide, and our platform is open for every and any industry which is focused on B2C, business to consumer.
And what key trends are you seeing in digital adoption across Southeast Asian markets?
Massive adoption. Massive. I think Southeast Asia is one of the fastest adopting markets in the world when it comes to crypto. I mean, not only Southeast Asia, I would say APAC in general, Asia Pacific in general, is probably more adaptive about crypto and tokens compared to the Western Hemisphere for whatever reasons, their regulations, the stringiness that they have with the governments and everything. But I think the trends are very strong. And also, I think the trends are very strong from a perspective of engage to earn, learn to earn. So anything which is earn rather than spending, I think that is trend is picking up big time. And because they're contributing in different ways to the ecosystem that you and I won't even know about. So that is what they're doing. But they're earning those tokens. And because they're earning those tokens, they have nothing to lose, even if they lose something. But that earning mechanism is giving them the learning thought process that hey, I can also earn a crypto, and my crypto can go up from 1 cent to 3 cents, and I've made three times the money. Even if the investment is $100, it doesn't matter. So I think the trend of adoption is very pro in APAC, Southeast Asia. Is growing very strong. I think as a market, as a region, I think we're the fastest growing crypto market, and somewhere I'm very glad that we are contributing towards that as well. With 200 million users only in Southeast Asia, we almost have 33% of Southeast Asia market, who uses our ecosystem. That's a massive market size, 33.33% of a particular region called Southeast Asia, which has around 600 to 700 million total population, but probably 500 million to 550 million mobile operating users, out of which probably your TAM would be 400 to 450 million users, and we have 200
Yeah,
million of them. So if you look at
yeah,
that,
that's
we've
great.
pretty much got 45% of the market under our belt.
And what do you think most business owners are getting wrong when they're trying to address this specific problem?
I think the biggest problem is, again, don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to pin anybody. It's just my learning because I've been on both sides of the table as an entrepreneur as well as an investor. I think one of the biggest thing is a lot of entrepreneurs, they spend a lot of time developing the product. The first thing that any entrepreneur should do is take the product to the market as fast as you can, because the market will tell you whether it's going to work or it's not going to work. If you invest, let's say, 6 months or a year, and you spend $50,000 or $100,000, the technology is evolving so fast. There are new use cases coming out so fast that you're probably late to the party. Number one, I think that's one area. Number two, assuming that they've either gone to the market fast or they've taken their own time to go to the market, then whatever capital they've raised through their token fund rounds, they use a lot of the capital for customer acquisition, because you need to acquire customers also. Whether it's
Right.
B2B or B2C, you need to acquire customers. The hardest part is not about acquiring customers. That's the easier part because you can spend money and you can get them. The hardest part is to retain those customers. To retain those customers, you got to spend more money and you got to keep spending, because the reason they came to your platform was because you spend the money. So now you can keep continuing to spend. And number three is marketing. You got to be relevant. So I think that's another area where a lot of entrepreneurs don't succeed as successfully as they would like to, because they're running out of funds before the level of marketing comes. And even if they have the funds, they don't have enough funds to continue the recall, top of the mind recall value of their product, because they also have bills to pay. They also have employees to pay. They have different people to pay as well. So I think these are three areas where I see most of the businesses, not necessarily one, two, three in any order, but
Yeah,
areas where a lot of entrepreneurs are not as successful as they would want to be, primarily because of these three things. And again, once you start burning too much money, after a point of time, the money dries up, unfortunately.
yeah, that's a really good advice there. And as you wrap up, what's next for the binary holdings? Any exciting developments on the horizon?
Yeah. We are launching our own DeFi product. We're coming up with our own hybrid platform, which will allow both fiat as well as crypto movements in under one platform, right? Globally, you can move money wherever you want, or you can move fiat wherever you want. Currently, what happens is you need to have your own wallet, which will do fiat transaction, and then you have a separate wallet which does crypto transaction. Imagine combining the two into one, and they can do it seamlessly. Plus, they can do trading both in public markets and crypto markets. Plus, they can invest in tokenized products as well as invest in traditional products. So, all under one umbrella, right? So, again, it's a perfect amalgamation of Web 2 and Web 3, because the idea is always to not spend money on educating them to shift, but to get them into the get them into the grind, sorry, where they are doing 90% on fiat but 10% here, which will then become 85% there and 15% here, 80% there and 20%. So it gradually then grows, and you've created a decentralized environment of letting them decide how much and when they want to convert themselves into the Web3 space. So that's number one. Number two, we're launching an AI based microservices platform for every DApp and chain in the market. I mean, off late, you would have heard we just had ZK Candy partner with us. Then we have a few more chains, L2s and L1s, who are integrating with us. Then we have a few dApps that have integrated in the recent times. So what we are doing is now we are launching the microservices platform, where automatically it's an open AI kind of a platform where everybody who wants to be a part of a larger ecosystem can just come in and plug using the APIs and plug into our ecosystem. So that's number two. And yeah, and there is one which is the operating system which we are launching, but that's due for 2026. I'll probably leave that for the next conversation, because it's something that we have a summit coming up in May. The first time 300 people are going to be seeing, and these 300 people are our existing shareholders, our prospective shareholders. We have guys from the Goldmans, BlackRocks, all those guys flying in, and then we have telco partners, both existing and prospective. Then we have industry leaders coming in. So it's a summit where there are going to be 200 to 300 people coming in, and for the first time they'll be looking at the operating system that we are going to be unveiling, where it's going to be a combination of the first layer, which is the infrastructure, which is the blockchain. On top of that, super app infra. On top of that, distribution layer. On top of that, the marketplace. Combine the four together, and then you build an OS out of it, right? And then instead of you booting into Android or iOS, you boot into our OS, and
Okay,
everything is
that's
then recorded on the chain, and your phone becomes your decentralized validator slash node. So true decentralization right there. But again,
yeah, that
this is very basics. Of course, it's a lot deeper than that, but yeah. So this is what it is. These are the interesting things coming out of the binary holdings this year, among many other things.
yeah, that's really really interesting. And for listeners who want to learn more or potentially work with the binary holdings, what's the best way to keep in touch?
The best way is drop us a message. Either, the best way to reach out to us is drop us a message on LinkedIn. Easiest, because on Twitter, unfortunate part is we keep getting messages every day from agencies and different people. At some point, you can't adhere or address everyone's request. LinkedIn is more curated, so it's easier to for us to address or answer them very easily. That's number one. Or you can go to our website www.thebinaryholdings.com, thebinaryholdings.com, and out there we have a contact us page. You can just put in there. It typically reaches out to my think tank team, which is governed by me. So we look into it. We kind of address them very seriously, because people who made the effort of going onto the website and reaching out to us, they definitely are interested to do. Or in the next few weeks, we are announcing the Binary Holdings University. So if anybody is interested to be a part of our ecosystem, can apply in the Binary Holdings University, which if you get selected is a fully paid scholarship program, which gives you the opportunity to be a part of our ecosystem and then reach out to a larger audience as well. So multiple ways of connecting with us and partnering with us. Learning, follow us on LinkedIn, follow us on Twitter, follow us on Telegram. I think this is the best way of learning. And if you want to learn more in person, then do participate and attend some of our events. So that way you'll get to learn a lot.
Okay, perfect. Thank you for sharing those insights about you, about your company, and about the whole story. And thank you for this amazing podcast session.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Great, so see you in the next episode. Bye.
Bye bye.